Hey, what is happening, everybody? It is a Monday, November 21st, and welcome to the show. Fantastic weather here today in Los Angeles. Been beautiful all weekend. Did a lot of shows. Did 3 on Saturday. Comedy Store and the Laugh Factory. Did a couple on Friday. Just been grinding out there. It's been nice to be home for a couple weeks now from the Marcus King tour. Speaking of that, my guest today, continuing with the Marcus King Diary. Last week I had Jason Roberts on, the tour bus driver, and thank you for all the kind words on that episode. I enjoyed it. I knew you guys would. It's always cool to have a behind-the-scenes look at the touring life of musicians and the people that work and keep that machine going. So thank you for digging in on that. Today is the second guitar player in the Marcus King Band, Drew Smithers. Now, Marcus, for years, was the only guitar player in the band, and then he put out Youngblood, which is his incredible newest record that's very heavily rock and roll influenced. And, you know, instead of the kind of R&B soul rock, this one's more three-piece punch in the face rock and roll. And I guess he decided, I know he decided, I don't know, but you know, he wanted to have a second guitar player, and he was talking to Drew about working together for years, and it finally came together. And I tell you what, man, it is a perfect combination of the two players. And now we just have what I would, you know, think to be one of the greatest touring rock and roll bands out there. You are not going to see something at this level. I mean, it's very special. It's up there with, to me, the Southern Harmony, Amorica era Black Crowes. It's up there with the classic Allman Brothers lineup. It's that good in my mind, and that is no bullshit. And I got to say, it is, as I listened back to editing this podcast last night, I was doing it, it just, I kind of teared up a little bit because these guys, we were all thrown together on this tour, and we became this incredible family, and we bonded like crazy. And on this Thanksgiving week, it means a lot to me that I was part of this tour and this family that Marcus has put together. And I'm still blown away. I'm still taking it all in. It's been a few weeks, and I'm glad I've got these recordings, these podcasts, because I listen to them and I go, like this one, I recorded it like 10 days into the tour, and I was listening to it and going, oh my God, that's so cool. We were there. Oh, this was happening. It's just, it's going to take a long time for all the memories to roll through my brain and just be like, oh, wow, what an epic tour. And what a great guy Drew is, and a fantastic player. Oh my God. These players are, let me tell you, I put together bands in my lifetime. You put the fucking ads out on the telephone poles and the music stores and the publications, looking for a guitar player with pro attitude and pro gear. Must look good. Long hair a must. These are the old ads. You know, you put the ads out. This is how it used to go. And then you'd be like, audition on Saturday, and like 5 guys would come down. And let's be honest, you kind of knew all the people in your town that played, but you were just hoping there'd be some crown jewel that would show up that nobody knew. And that would happen once in a while. But that's just one guy in your band. You need 3 or 4 or 5. And it is fucking impossible. So when I look at Marcus' band, I'm just like, God, he's you know, they're no That was another thing in the ad. No old dudes. Holy shit, were we ageist. It's coming back to me now, right? You know, hey, what about me? I should have a special. You're 56. Move on, Dad. Anyway, it's great to see this band that he has and the guys. It's a unit, man. I'm rambling on, but it's just because I got all these feelings and it was just such a special time in my life. It was hard. It was grueling. It was fun. It was electric. It was all of the senses. Sometimes there was shitty food. Pizza had to be ate once in a while, which is a no-no for me. But hey, you gotta fucking survive. I love you, Drew. Thank you for doing the show. A lot of great Allman Brothers talk on this too, which just always fires up my love for the Allman Brothers. I've talked about it over the 11 years on the podcast. Allman Brothers, one of the greatest bands of all time. Unbelievable. Crazy magic. Super original. Smoking group. A lot of them are gone. Dickie's still alive. And, man, I'm just so glad that we have those records. That Fillmore East. You're not going to beat that Fillmore East record. You put it on, and it is just such a masterpiece. Shows this week. All week I'll be on all over town. If you have family in town, come down to the Comedy Store and enjoy some comedy. I'll be there. I will be in Philly the first weekend in December. Headline is Soul Joel's. Please get tickets. I don't know when I'll be back in Philly. Don't hit me with the gotta catch you next time. Nah, you fucking go this time. You hear me? Jackie, you hear me, Jackie? Anyway, Soul Joel's, and then Grand Comedy Club, December 16, 17 in San Diego. Bill Burr dates, December 8, 9, and 10. I'll be out in Boise, Salt Lake City, and Colorado. And what else we got? That looks about it right now. This episode is sponsored by my fantastic sponsor, Migos Dog. You got an animal, you got a dog that you love, feed it the finest food. Human grade, all clean and natural. Migos Dog. MigosDog.com. They deliver all over Los Angeles now. They do delivery. And if you live in California, check them out at all the Erewhons or Healthy Spots. Migos Dog on Instagram and MigosDog.com. They got toppers to put onto your existing food, whatever. Feed your dog clean food so you have your dog a long, long time. You don't want to lose your dog over ghetto food. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself diabetes, fine, but don't give your dog diabetes. Keep them slim and trim, exercise them, and they'll live a long time. They'll live longer than you, probably. You Big Mac eating crazy man. Migos Dog. I'm out of my mind today. I'm feeling okay. I feel good. I've worked a lot this weekend. That's all I want to do is stand-up comedy. And when I get to do a lot of it, it makes me feel fantastic. I miss you, Marcus, if you're listening. And I miss you, Marcus King Band, all of you. And let's keep the candles lit out there, huh? One last thing. Patreoners. New Patreoners in the house. Brian Spink and Quiet the Horses. Thank you for joining up. Patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. There will be a Zoom Fest tonight. I guarantee it. And there will be a bonus episode where I'm talking about... what am I talking about? Some GNR live at the Ritz. I'm talking about AC/DC, those about to rock era tour. The new Porsche and Prius and Kias, the auto show, all of that stuff. Tune in to the bonus episode. I love all of you. Here we go. Drew Smithers. All right, here we are. Another episode of Let There Be Talk. I've decided to do a kind of a Marcus King tour diary and interview each member of the Marcus King band. I thought, fuck, what better way to do it than while we're out here and living it for this 34-date tour. And today is going to be Drew Smithers, the newest member, I think, maybe, of the Marcus King band, and a second guitar player, which they never had as I was watching the band coming up. So how are you, bud?
Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Hell yeah. Now, I had Marcus on. Well, I've had Marcus on multiple times, but the last time he was on, we were talking about the addition of a second guitar player, and he's like, well, Drew and I had been talking years about playing together, but you were in a band called Bishop Gunn,
That's right.
and that kind of fell apart, and now here you are. And it really is a cool addition to the band, I think.
Well, thanks, man. I mean, me and Marcus have been talking about it we've known each other. We first met in 2016, around there at Carter Vintage Guitars.
You were working there?
Selling guitars, and you never knew who was going to come in, but Marcus and the band came in, and we hit it off, and he was like, hey, we're playing Third and Lindsley tonight. You should come out. And he gave me a vinyl and a lighter. And, me and my wife came out. We loved the band. And, then down the road, the band I was in, Bishop Gunn, opened for him on it was probably a, 6-week tour or whatever. And my favorite part of the night was playing with this band, sitting in and jamming, man. So, and then me and Marcus have done some other things together. We're on the same bill at the Capricorn Revival in Macon, Georgia, where they opened up the studio, and there's me and Marcus got to play with Taj Mahal. We got to play Statesboro Blues at Taj Mahal. Pretty cool.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So anyway, New Year's Eve was the first show with this new lineup, and I've been on since.
Now, I met your dad and your mom and your dad at New York. We were at the one of the crown jewels of touring.
That's right.
Is the Beacon Theater. And it was my first time doing it, and it was your first time doing it, right?
That's right. I've seen many a show there. I mean, me and my dad are trying to count. I've probably been there 70-ish times to see the Allman Brothers.
Yeah. Yeah.
My first show was March 12, 2005. Remember the date. And I was like, man, I got to do that. I want to play guitar.
How old were you then?
I was 16.
Yeah. How old are you now?
33.
33. I mean, it's a great story. It's your mom and dad's first date is at a Dead concert at
MSG.
MSG.
Yep.
You're born in San Francisco. A lot of Grateful Dead in your blood.
That's right. Bob Weir said I was in it in the womb.
Yeah, right. And at what point you're at a young age? Obviously, mom and dad are deadheads, and they're playing music around the house. At what point does it kind of connect with you of like, oh, wow, I want to play guitar, not drums, not singing or whatever? How does this all happen?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of music in the house. There's like my dad's vinyl collection, which I now have most of it. Some of it he's still holding on to.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a lot of music in the house. I didn't play music, so that was I wasn't brought up with a guitar around the house or anything like that.
Like Marcus.
Right. But they were music lovers, and for me, I'm a fan first, man. So I love playing, but I didn't get into it until I saw the Brothers.
Really?
March 12, 2005.
So it's the Beacon. You're there, and what was the lineup then?
It was Derek Trucks and Warren Haynes and O'Teal and Butch and J-Mo and Greg and me and my dad, he'd take me to go see like 6. They'd play like 15 nights.
Yeah.
It was like March Madness.
Yeah.
Beacon.
Yeah.
So we'd go to a few, and that's when the love of slide guitar for me. That's what I started playing with slide.
Right.
And so that's when it really started.
I notice even when you are playing not slide, you do kind of the Dwayne right hand picking style and everything. Mm-hmm. Was that like was that like no pick or what's going on there?
Yeah, just that's how I started to learn was with slide, no pick. So when I was playing without a slide, I'd still not pick up the pick, And you got 5 picks right here, man. I don't know. It's a little more natural to me.
Right. That was one thing I always noticed about Dwayne was, and it just seems so effortless how he is doing it.
Well, with slide too, there's a lot of muting involved, because if you're not in open tuning or whatever, there's a lot of unsympathetic noises that come with a glass bottle hitting strings. And so you got to do a lot of muting with your right hand, especially, for me at least. And so, yeah, it was just always playing without a pick. But you play with a pick?
I do play with a pick because I'm not a good player. You know what I mean?
Well, I wish I could. It's just not natural for me.
So when you are playing slide, you are not in open tuning, obviously, like in Marcus,
Sure, yeah. Well, there's a few different tunings, but yeah, sometimes a lot of the time I'm in standard and playing slide. So.
Yeah, and was Dwayne, I never really thought about that. Was he in open tuning or was he in standard?
He was in open tunings for Statesboro Blues and Done Somebody Wrong and Don't Keep Me Wondering and all that, but
right.
He was playing standard slide on Mountain Jam and Dreams. So he was doing both too.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's funny to think about that. I never even thought about that because it's funny, like, to me, I think, like, man, I could play slide. You get into that open tuning, and you're just like, wow, 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 wow. That's all you got to do. You just slide up it. Wow, wow. You find the spot.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong. You could just slide up to the pitch or whatever, and it's a major chord. If you're playing in a minor tuning, it might be a little different.
It's kind of like those early 2000 metal bands where they just played an open tuning. You ever see them? And they're just playing one long finger bar chord?
Man. Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
They're playing the blues, too.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Blues. That's a trip, man.
Yeah,
See, the first time I saw that, I was like, hey, these guys aren't playing any chords or anything. They're just barring. And they're like, oh, well, they're just in an open tune or tuning,
I like it, man. I do.
First guitar, what do you get?
I had a Silvertone amp and case model.
Oh, yeah, the amp and case.
So it had, you could put the guitar in the amp. And you could also plug the case into the wall. It was an amp. And yeah, man, it was. I wish I still had it. I sold it for when I was living in Chicago to make rent one month.
Yeah,
and I regret it.
There's nothing dirtier than the rent guitar sale, right? Because it's just like, oh, I got 30 more days in the house because I sold what I love.
Right.
Dude, I call them parachutes on the show here.
That's good.
Where you're looking around the house and you're like, well, rent's due.
Right.
That Lowrance tuner's out of here.
Well, even working at the guitar shop, too, is a little dangerous for me when stuff would come in, I'd be like, just put this in the back for now and just figure out how I can get it.
Totally.
So I did a lot of wheeling, dealing, and trading. But what I got now out here on the road is kind of, it's a dream rig, man. I'm grateful for what I have.
Yeah, that's so great, right? So you start, playing slide, learning slide, like right away. You're learning how to play slide.
Yeah, that was the first thing. It wasn't a G chord or cowboy chords. It was playing slide.
Yeah. And were you trying to write any songs or anything, or were you just like, nah, I just want to learn Allman Brothers?
I was doing like just writing instrumentals and stuff, just kind of figuring out my way around the fretboard. And I went to music school, so I had to take songwriting classes and do all that. So it was writing. It was a lot of instrumental music, though.
And then at what point do you come back to Nashville? Or wait, so did your family live in Nashville? Then you went to school in Chicago?
Yeah, I went to school in Chicago. They live on the East Coast, and then moved down to Nashville about 10 years ago. And that's when I hooked up with Jack Pearson, who, man, taught me everything I know.
Wow.
And he played in the Allmans from 97 to 99.
Oh, you were asking me about that era, yeah.
And, man, one of my favorite eras with him and Dickie. And supposedly Dickie Betts hired him he's like, we're either taking lessons from this guy or he's joining the band. You know,
we're taking lessons from the guy,
right.
And that far deep in their career,
right? And you know, Dickie and Jack. You know, Jack was a fan of the Brothers growing up, so for him to join that band and you know, play that music was special to him, and he taught me all the right ways to play the songs, and
Whoa.
you know, he taught me I know, like my chord inversions and all that in standard tuning. So he's a big influence on me, my mentor, my big brother, you know, just my Nashville, you know, he's the best in my book.
So you got the guitar in the case, and then at what point do you get a real guitar?
So I got an SG.
Oh yeah,
you know,
Dickie. Or I mean Dwayne. Yeah.
And
was it walnut or cherry?
Cherry.
Yeah.
I still have it, and just kind of sits at home. And
was it custom shop or just one of those 62?
Made in USA. Just
yeah, well, made in the USA. Yeah.
You know, and it was a good guitar, man. And anyway, yeah. Right now I got out on the road. I got a '64 SG Junior.
Yeah.
The Alpine White, and then I got the '66 non-reverse.
There's our man. Say hi.
I don't mean to interrupt. I'm going to let you finish, Drew. But Drew Smith is one of the greatest guitar players of all time. All right. Okay.
And that's coming from what I think is one of the greatest guitar players of all time, right there. Holy shit, man. You get the SG, now it's got to be like, oh my God, the playing's so much easier, right?
Right. I love SG, well, especially for slide, because you can get all the way up the neck.
Yeah.
And you know, like Dwayne on Layla, when he's playing all the way up the fretboard, I mean, it's just easy. It's, you know, you can do that on an SG pretty easily. So it feels at home for me. I also got a '66 non-reverse Firebird and a couple Les Pauls out here. So. And
then what was your first like real amp?
That's a good question. I had that Silvertone amp in case. And then I got another Silvertone amp in Chicago for dirt cheap, $150, $200. I just love this. I just saw all those old blues guys playing those amps and guitars. But I guess the first tube amp, maybe a Vox or something.
Oh, Vox, like an AC-15 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I can't really remember. And then I got into the Fender game, so it was like a Deluxe, Vibrolux, Super Reverb.
Yeah.
I got a couple of Fenders at home, which I love. But out here playing Marcus's killer
that's
orange
killer.
amps.
Sounds so good.
They
just
sound
three
great.
knobs. I love
Three
it.
knobs, just easy. I mean, it's not, you know, it's a volume, bass, and treble. All you need.
Yep.
You know?
Think about all those eras of the Allman Brothers and the different amps that are up there. Like there was a time where Warren was playing like Ingalls or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah, remember
there's
that? And
Randall amps.
Yeah, Randalls. Yeah, and like. And Dickie would go all over the board. He'd be like PRS, then he'd be like...
yeah, he was playing a Strat for a while.
Yeah, Strat.
Jack was playing a Strat in that band. Well, he had it's at the Big House, I think. It's a Strat body with a telly neck. And, that was his, in a Randall amp and a Tube Screamer. You know, just...
Isn't that wild?
Simple, man. And
it's like whatever they played, it just sounded exactly the same as the first fucking live at the Fillmore.
I know. Well, you know... That, you know, for that record, you know, Dwayne was using 250-watt Marshalls.
Yeah.
With a Y cable plugged into both, and Dickie was playing the 100-watt. So Dickie's got the headroom, he's got the kind of the cleaner sound, and Dwayne's kind of, you know, that dirty. And the two of them together, those tones together were just, you know, unbeatable in my book.
It's so wild to think about how fucking great those guys were, you know.
Man. And just, you know, talking about Live at the Fillmore, that was just one night of them playing that, you know, because they would switch the set list up or they'd play differently the next night.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone goes back to that album and learns those solos.
Yeah.
You know? Because it was, you know, I don't know. Tom Dowd did it, you know, having him on board, and it was just the perfect amalgamation of the venue, the time.
Bill Graham.
Just the band at the time, touring, so...
Oh, especially the deluxe super version.
Right.
Oh my God. We got like the 34-minute
Mountain Jam.
Yeah.
Oh, man, if I was there, shit. I feel like I always grew up on the wrong era. You know what I mean?
I don't feel like that, thank God. Because although I didn't see the Allman Brothers in that era, or Zeppelin or Skynyrd, I did get everything else, you know?
Right.
From like 77 to now.
Sure.
So, you know, the AC/DC, the Power Age, Let There Be Rock, the Highway to Hells, the Van Halen. Did you get into like Eddie and all of that kind of playing, or Angus?
Not too much. Angus, because he had an SG, I was like, that's cool. But yeah, it wasn't the like really heavy guitar players like Van Halen, or, you know, I obviously respect the hell out of what they do, but I never really got deep into that music. But
Well, it's just interesting that you're 33 and you're into music, you know, like guitar music, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, I listen to a lot different things at home, whether it's jazz albums or, you know, just singer-songwriters, or it's always good to be listening to something new.
Totally.
You know, and so I try to do that. And there's a lot of good music out there today. You know, it's I think it's watered down a little bit, but if you look, you can find it. You know?
Oh, there's so much good music. You know, I mean, perfect example is this tour we're out on. Neil Francis, Ashley Kraft, and Marcus King, and there's all kinds of people in there, and that makes me so happy to think like these people are seeking new music.
Totally,
they are seeking new music, man.
And that's props to Marcus for putting this whole thing together and having you. I mean, it's a full night of entertainment. You know, Ashton Kraft, great singer-songwriter from Nashville, who's kind of setting the mood of the show, and then you're coming out and emceeing and telling jokes, and then Neil's coming out with his band and killing. Yeah. And it's funny because I got an old buddy of mine playing drums with Neil, Colin O'Brien, who we were in our first touring band together back in Chicago. So this is like another full circle thing.
Wow, what band was that?
It was called Otis. It was a 7-piece funk band that just kind of lived in Chicago we were probably on the road for a couple of years, and then moved to Nashville and it fell apart. But so it's really great to be back on the road with him and
he's killer.
They're the whole band, man.
Oh yeah, that fucking band is great.
Hopefully we can get everybody up at the end of the night.
Super jam. Yeah. At what point when you get to Nashville, first I want to talk to you a little bit about Carter Music, because Carter Vintage, I worked at a guitar store, you know, real guitars, and there's nothing better than working in a guitar store. Man. It's distracting too, because every nickel you're making is you're like
you're just putting it back into the store. Really.
Yeah. Genius of the people that own the stores.
Yeah, put it on. Yeah, you can take it out of your paycheck.
I got guys working here free.
No problem. Yeah, exactly. Man. The amount of people I've met just working there, or the guitars I've gotten to hold. Yeah. You know, it's pretty surreal, man. And just moving to Nashville, that was one of my first gigs. My first gig in Nashville was a bar back at the Bluebird Cafe. Oh, shit. And that's where I met my wife.
Really?
Yeah. The quintessential Nashville story. We should have been the TV show. Yeah. Really.
Was she working there too?
She was. She was a waitress.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you didn't read the rule book?
I know.
You're not supposed to date the employees?
I know, man. That's why I left shortly after that. I started working at Carter's, and the guitars that I've played, you know, 59 Les Pauls and Dumble amplifier. You know, it's just. Oh yeah, they've had it all. Old acoustic, old Martins, you know.
Nothing like working at a guitar store, man. Imagine like, you know, you work at Norm's.
I know.
You know, Rare Guitars. Norm's one of the fucking kings of it all, and I hung out at guitar stores a lot of years. I think maybe on my deathbed they'll be like, you know, you could have had 10 more years if you didn't hang at those guitar stores.
Well, you're showing me pictures of all your old beauties that you've had, man. So
love it, man. I love guitar. I love design. I love music. And I just really love guitars. You know, I don't play barely at all now, because I love comedy more than anything. And thank God I found something a new thing to love in life to keep you going.
Yeah,
you
man,
know?
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Motorcycles, cars, architecture.
I think they'll all keep you young. You know?
Yeah, they do, and they keep your brain fucking moving.
Right.
I mean, there was
especially
a time.
Comedy, I'm sure. I mean, that's just, you got to be sharp as a tack.
Oh yeah, your brain's got to be on. Right. You know, there was a time where I just knew, every inch of a 52 telly. I knew what was supposed to be there and what's not.
Yep.
What are the flathead screws?
Well, you can teach me some of that.
Yeah, but it slowly fades away.
Right.
it was locked in for years. Then I knew everything about a Porsche 911, you know. And then, you know, now it's just so you got to have room for comedy.
Right.
I take in all the comedy. But I think the good thing about that is when I sit down here and interview people, we can kind of go anywhere in a conversation, you know, because if you just know one thing in life, that's cool or whatever. But, God, I think your brain stops working after a while.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Sometimes I'm a little guilty of that, just talking guitars all the time.
Yeah. Well,
To my
you're
wife or
33, dude. I mean, I've been
She's
there.
like, is there anything else that...
Oh, yeah.
we
Well,
could
later
do?"
on,
But I'm like,
somebody-
check this out. Check it out.
Yeah. Somebody's going to come up to you and be like, hey, what about this? You're like, man, I don't fucking want to talk about guitars.
Yeah.
That's what I do, you know?
You know. I think there will be a day where that will happen, but,
Yeah.
you know.
It'll be a long
Speaking of
ways
my
away.
wife,
Yeah.
who we have a mutual friend in common.
Yeah, Jakir King.
Shakir King.
Yeah, which is great. Shout out to him, man.
Yes, sir. He's one of my favorite people, and blessed to know him. And you know, done
Killer
a lot
producer.
of killer producer.
Yeah.
Done several sessions with him over the years, and he's just, I mean, just one of the best out there, man. And yeah, so Sarah works with him now, his 1+1 management group, and who's got some great artists on there. Michael MacArthur's record just came out 2 days ago, which he's a part of that label, and Jakir produced that, and we had some killer players on that album.
Yeah.
So he's
And
always...
what's the other band? Monster?
Robot Monster.
Robot Monster, yeah.
Another
Two-piece.
killer, you know,
Yeah.
just young rock and roll band, man.
Yeah.
And they're doing it, and really cool. They just, I think they played their first live shows not too long ago, opening for Stone Temple Pilots.
Wow.
It's a pretty cool first gig.
Yeah. They, you know, there's a lot of good new rock out, man, you know?
Amen.
And people like Jakir just kind of seeking it out, you know,
Yeah.
seeking out. Like, that's how I found Marcus, and that's how I found Neil Francis, and everybody that's, you know, any new artists on here, I just seek it out.
Yeah,
it's
man.
like, I'm always looking for, I mean, Marcus is one of the greatest the records of the last few years are some of the best music I've heard in years.
He's a triple threat with, you know, his voice, his guitar playing, and his amazing songs.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
For me to be out here doing it with him, and it's an honor, man, and just having a lot of fun. And this tour is crossing off a lot of bucket list venues.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
we're
the
gonna do the
Beacon or
Ryman.
Ryman,
Tabernacle.
Tabernacle.
Yeah.
So it's awesome for you to be out here with us and
Yeah.
doing the thing and making the people laugh, and
Just taking it to the face every night.
for us, you know, backstage, I mean, hearing music all night can kind of get a little, you know,
Yeah.
draining. So you going up there and killing it is, it's special, man. It's if you guys haven't checked out the tour yet, you guys got to come out.
Hell yeah. So, you get Bishop Gunn going. How does this band come together? Do you join, or do you guys is it part of you? Did you put it together, or how is this?
They were a band before, and band from Natchez, Mississippi, and they had a couple of. They're like it's a quartet, you know, just rock and roll band, and I guess the guitar player and bass player at the time, they did an EP like the original lineup, and then the guitar player and bass player didn't want to move up to Nashville. So that's where I met the other guys, and I joined then, and we're on the road for a good 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
Made some great albums. We recorded at Muscle Shoals Sound Studio.
Open for Slash and the Stones.
Open for Slash. We opened for Slash over in Europe on a tour. It was the Slash and Miles Kennedy
Right.
band.
Yeah,
Killer.
Conspiracy, yeah.
Yep, we did a Guns N' Roses show.
Yeah.
And also got to open for the Stones. So
Now, where did you open for the Stones at?
NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas.
And how did it happen? Did your management get it, or how?
Actually, so Mick did that James Brown movie
Oh, yeah.
a couple years ago. Get On Up, or I think
Yep.
that's what it's called. And they were filming in Natchez, where the Travis and the other guys were living. Travis, the lead singer for Bishop Gunn, and they heard him sing at some bar he likes to go out and have
Yeah.
a drink and
You see in
experience
those
the town.
photos?
I mean, that's
He's
so
just at
cool,
some
man.
like pool hall
Right.
with a Coors Light.
Exactly. It's like, how are these people behind you not realize who you are?
That's my favorite one. But I'll tell you what, when you just, if you saw Jagger, you'd just be like, look at that guy, looks like Jagger.
Right.
You know?
He looks just
That's all
like-
you'd say.
Exactly.
You know?
You have no idea that's actually him. So anyway, they saw him play, and Jagger's assistant reached out to Travis a few years down the road and said, hey, can you send me latest record or whatever?
Yeah.
And supposedly they listened to it, and we were one of the opening bands, man. So grateful for that. Actually, that show in Guitar World's a little special, too. Got to play Dwayne's 1957 Gold Top for that night.
Why was that guitar there?
My buddy Richard Brent, shout out to Richard Brent, he came down and guitar tech for me that night. I just wanted him to be there, and he was like, well, you want to play the Gold Top? And I was like,
Why, did he own it or something?
He's the curator of the Big House Museum, and he took care of that guitar forever.
Whoa.
And I was like, man, I don't want you to travel with it. Like, I just want for you to be here. And,
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I want to hear it in a stadium.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Wow. What kind of, did he bring it in like a flight case?
Yeah, it was. I think so.
An Anvil flight
I
case?
think he bought a seat on the flight over there.
Yeah.
And played at that. It actually sold in auction that night for $1.25 million.
Wow. So you mean in Houston, or was it on a worldwide auction?
It was in a worldwide auction for a couple weeks leading up to that gig.
Yeah.
And so he was like, if it sells before, I won't be able to bring it.
Right.
And it didn't sell, but it sold that night.
Oh my God! Can you imagine it sells and they got broken on the way home or stolen?
Goodness,
oh,
man. But everybody, Marcus has played that guitar several times, and they're pretty gracious of letting people
that's
play
cool.
that. So
Yeah.
it's a piece of history, man. It's the Layla guitar.
Yeah.
So that was really fun getting to open for the Stones, obviously, and 50,000 people, and getting to meet them too.
Who has his
Sweethearts.
burst?
His daughter.
His daughter has the burst?
Yeah, both of them, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah.
God, that one's so unusual.
I know.
Because it's got the reverse chevron flames.
Right.
And then it's
The dark one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
the dark
Yeah.
burst.
Yeah. Man.
And then it has the weird kind of almost, sometimes it looks purpley.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
a flamey guitar, and
Yeah.
people don't know. I don't know if people know if it's a 58 or 59, because I don't know if there's a stinger on the back of the neck, or it's just kind of the serial number's not there or whatever. But,
Right.
supposedly that's the one. Dwayne kept trading up. He had the Gold Top first, which is the whole Layla record besides the coda of Layla.
Yeah.
So that was recorded a couple weeks later, and he had gotten the Cherry Burst by then.
Yeah.
So, but he had put the Gold Top pickups in that guitar. So same pickups, different guitar for the end of Layla.
Oh, man.
And then, he traded for the Dark Burst a few months before he passed. So
Wait,
people say that's the best one. That he,
the dark burst, did he play it on the Fillmore recordings?
that was the Cherry one.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's the cherry.
The closing of the Fillmore, that's when he got that guitar.
Right. Oh, wow. What's the one with the frets on the back? The dark burst?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
That's weird because that's the one they reissue.
Right.
And I just thought that was because I got a bootleg and it's him playing it on the cover,
Yep, yep.
I just thought he played that his whole career, and then the SG sat over there.
Right. Dickie got sick of him tuning to open E, supposedly, so he's like, here, just use this guitar for open E.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, man. When you listen to those bootlegs and they're tuning for 20 minutes.
I love it.
Oh.
I mean,
Oh.
just because they're all human,
Oh, I
and it's
know.
just fun to, your heroes just like trying to figure out, like,
Yeah.
almost in tune.
It's fucking crazy,
It's great,
man. I
yeah.
remember once you get out on the road, there's just this rule. Pre-tuners, now everybody has a tuner,
Right.
but it's like, hey, no high volume tuning.
Right.
You're on stage, sound check.
They weren't using any pedals.
No.
You know what I mean?
No
they
pedals.
They couldn't stomp on their tuner and,
Oh,
and
fuck
be
no.
quiet. They're
I
like,
know.
hey, Greg, hit me a G.
I
You
know. That's close enough, man.
Close enough, yeah. All right, here we go.
There's Elizabeth Reed right here.
That's
In
right.
some key.
Yeah, right.
So Bishop Gunn was rolling for a while, and then it just kind of fell apart.
It fell apart. Unfortunately, it was a great band, great potential, and fell apart before the pandemic, and and then here we are a couple years later.
During the pandemic, the band kind of falls apart. pre-Marcus, were you like auditioning for bands or trying to get into something?
I was
or?
doing a lot of sessions
Yeah.
in Nashville during that time because, I mean, there wasn't really any touring going on.
Right, of course.
And so, yeah, Jakir, you know, we're doing a lot of stuff with Jakir, and he's got this great thing called the K Club, and it's just a bunch of his, you know, musician buddies that are writing these tunes, and he's just putting them out under the K Club.
Wow.
Which is cool. Lots of diverse music on there, anything from like kind of like a rap track with dobro on it to like a full band killing it. So it's a cool project that he's doing. So I did some of those sessions over the pandemic, and then things started picking back up. I mean, man, I guess it was a year and a half ago or something.
Yeah.
You know, during the summer, it's like things are starting to open again. And so I was doing random things here and there, and because obviously I had time and, you know, wanted to gig again, and but no band. So then I got did some gigs with Blackberry Smoke last summer, which was awesome. What else did I do? I got to play on a Robin Ford record, which was cool. Another hero of mine, and then so then I was out on the road with the Blackberry Smoke, and I remember getting a text from Marcus. This is sometime in November, saying, "Hey, what do you do New Year's Eve?" I was like, "Well, nothing, man. What do you do?" And he's like, "Well, come play. You know, we're doing the hometown throwdown in Greenville, Greenville, South Carolina." Where I'm from. And I was like, "Cool, I'll be there." And because he's got this new record out, which is kind of more rock and roll.
Young blood.
Guitars. And so he sent me 55 tracks around there.
55.
Yeah, all the, you know, everything from his first record to now.
So he wanted you to learn all that and just sit in for the whole night?
Yeah,
Did you think you were joining or no?
Just to play the whole night.
Right.
You know? And so I did that, and here we are, like, you know, 9 months later, man. So
wow,
it's been a blast, and it's been a busy year too, you know. So I'm grateful for that.
Right.
Grateful to my woman at home who understands that, you know, got to do what I got to do.
Yeah. I mean, and you got a baby.
Yes, sir. 21 months.
I miss my dog.
I miss my dog too.
I can't even imagine.
But I definitely miss
humans.
Yes,
you know?
right, of course. But grateful for FaceTime and being able to do that, and trying to just get on a routine where I can talk to him in the morning or before he goes to bed, before the gig. You know, say goodnight, and but yeah, man, he's sprouting. It's crazy. I can't wait to see him. It's nice that this tour kind of lands in Nashville halfway through.
I know.
So you'll be able to meet her and him. And
a little bump. We get a little, you get to see some family and friends. Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, it's when I was your age, I toured a lot, and now I'm, fucking old, 56, and I love.
Still got it, man.
I love comedy though. Right. Because you get to go home each week.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
but with comedy, man, that must be, I mean, see, we're out here with a 7-piece band and crew, and, you know, you're never really alone.
Right.
But with comedy, you're doing it solo. You're out there by yourself.
Yeah. I
mean,
perfect for our only child. You know what I was saying? Like, you know, I don't have to worry about, this guy's drunk tonight. This guy's not into it.
Right.
You know, when you get into the wrong band, like everybody in the Marcus King band is so into it. You don't hear any complaints.
No, we're all in it for the same reason.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, you can tell you're into it because the sets are 2.5 hours.
Right.
The contract is 90 minutes. You don't need to be up there. Yeah. No, but I'm saying, if you didn't like it, you'd be 90-minute mark. Damn, we're done. Thank you. Good night.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So
we want to play, man, and it's everyone out here is just. I mean, the band's on fire right now.
Oh my God!
I think.
Yeah. So. Oh, it is. Yeah. The Beacon second night was just crazy.
Man.
Marcus' dad sat in.
Marcus' dad, Marv.
Yeah.
And Nigel Hall.
Oh, Nigel Hall killing it over there.
Miller, I've been a fan of his for years, so that was really fun to play with him. And man, we got to get you up on guitar.
I know. I want to sing.
What are you going to sing?
We're trying to figure it out,
okay.
You know? Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to sing.
Hell yeah.
You know?
Well, you can always play my guitars if you want.
Nah. I haven't played guitar in years. I just played, to me, guitar was just a tool to write songs with, like like a Springsteen or
Do you play any other instrument? You play piano?
No,
Yeah,
no.
just guitar.
No, I mean I could you figure it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was always just I only learned so I could write songs because
Yeah,
I
man.
was always a slave to whoever else's songwriting.
Right.
And I write the lyrics and melodies, but it'd always be like, nah, I'm not. I hear it like this or whatever.
You do a lot of co-writing?
I used to, yeah, man. I mean, I could do it right now
Right.
because I can write songs like real fast.
Right. It's
Like-
kind of. Do you relate it to like coming up with a bit? Is it?
Now, bits are harder because to me, if I got a guitar, I'm just strumming it in a house, a song will come out.
Right.
Where bits, I got to be on stage.
Totally.
That's how I write. Some people write
Right,
bits at
yeah.
home. There's different writing. There's
Right.
guys that can write, especially one-liner guys or
Well, you
whatever.
got to go try them out.
Yeah, you got to go try them out. And I just kind of have some ideas. Then I get on stage and I start to find it. It's like
Yeah.
panning for gold.
Right.
You know?
Well, you're killing it out here, man.
I did a
so
lot of
fun.
lyric writing like that, too. I wouldn't really, until I was under the gun in the studio. Like, all
That makes
right,
sense.
we got to fucking get these
Right.
lyrics. I would have the choruses and shit, but,
Right. The main idea. Yeah.
just, try to find it, which is always great. You could crash and burn, or you come up with shit,
Well, it's nice to have another set of ears like listening, or maybe try this, or
Yeah.
That's the natural thing, like the co-writing and
Yeah.
all that. But
Yeah, I'd never co-write a joke, That's just not
Yeah,
like,
that's-
yeah. Hey, man, say this. Well, that's your life, dude. I know, but it'd be funny, man.
Right.
This happened to me today. You just say it happened to you. It's like, nah.
I feel like people could see through
You know how
that.
fake that would
Right,
be?
exactly, exactly.
Well, hell, man, it's been great to. We're like 10 days in.
getting
Today's the
started.
7th gig. Yeah, just getting started.
Really?
Just like, I look at each day. I'm like, man, it feels like we've been out 3 weeks.
It has.
Yeah.
We got day off tomorrow, so that's nice.
Oh man, Detroit. What are you gonna do on your day off?
Sleep.
Yeah.
You turn off the lights, get under the covers.
Yeah, I know, right? Cry a little.
Oh, man. Yeah, do some reading, maybe play a little bit. Who knows? Maybe we should go out and grab a bite.
Let's do that. There's some good food in Detroit. There's
Yeah.
that one little hipster area where Shinola is and shit.
Man, I've never been to Soul Town.
Oh, let's go there.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
If we're close, we should definitely do
Yeah,
that.
let's do something.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to talk to you.
Hey.
Tell everybody where to find you.
Thanks, Dean. My socials are at the Drew Smithers on Instagram, and you can find me there. I need to be better about social media, though. You're
Yeah.
really good at it.
You got to do it, dude.
I got to do it.
Because, it's the only way, as cheesy as this fucking sounds, but to build your brand.
Right, totally.
But, you get the world aware of you, and you're able not just for Jakir, but other situations play on people's records. Manufacturers get amps and guitars and pedals
Yep.
in your hand.
Yep. Amen.
And because it's you have to have multiple irons in the fire. I wouldn't even be surprised if you still worked at Carter Vintage.
Sometimes.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? You got to you go home. A good job like that, man. I had a good job. Like when you could, work at I worked at Harley
So
when I
cool.
started comedy, and they were just cool. They're like, I get it. You're going to be gone all
Right.
weekend. You got a good job, and eventually you hope you never have to go back to it. But if it's
Right.
a job, it's cool that you can go back
Yeah,
to.
Carter's is Walter and Christy are like my natural mom and dad. So, whenever I'm back in town, they're like, if you need to come in, just come in,
Yeah, that's great.
But sometimes when I get off the road, it's like, I'm just going to stay put at home,
Oh yeah,
hang with the fam
Yeah.
for a couple days before I go back out. So
I get it. Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, man. But yeah, you can also find me out here on the road with Dean Del Rey and the Marcus King Band. And the Youngblood Tour is going for another,
Yeah, 4 or 5 weeks.
yeah, man.
And we're all over. You can check my website, deandelray.com, if you want. And also, I want to say this episode is brought to you by my fantastic sponsor, Standard and Strange. And all my clothing comes from Standard and Strange. I was just there in New York City with them. And, oh, my God, what a store. They got one in Oakland.
Is that the leather?
Yeah, they had the
Man.
leathers. Did you see the video I put up of all the?
Man, yeah.
Yeah, it's Look, if you're into high quality, fine clothing, Japanese clothing like the real McCoys, or if you're into great high end denim or boots, you just go in this shop.
They got it all.
They got it all. You don't need to go anywhere else.
Man.
I mean, it is like I have a podcast called The Grail, and the artwork is me walking by a shop that has everything I love. And I'm like, that doesn't exist.
But
this store is pretty much there, minus the guitars and like Porsches, you know?
Right.
Standard and Strange. Hit them on Instagram. And Neil and Jeremy are just unbelievable. And it was great to go there.
That's cool.
And I just love the guys. They're absolutely like just fucking great humans.
Makes the company that much. You
Right.
love the company that much more.
That's why I want them to. They're not paying for this ad. I just shout them out nonstop because I just love them. So thank you, everybody that came out to our New York shows, our Columbus, Ohio, our Philly, our Boston, our DC show. Yeah, candles are lit. Thank you, Drew, for doing the show.
Thanks, Dean. Appreciate it.
And it's been a pleasure to watch you play every night.
Thanks,
and
man.
hear you over there just fucking laying down the slide.
Appreciate you, man. Till next time.
Yep. All right, guys. See you later.